Good evening and welcome to the news at 8 o'clock on a day when India united against the Citizenship Act. It was also India versus a lockdown. Let's just look at three defining images from across India. They include prominent Gandhi historian Ram Guha being pushed and shoved and detained as he was in an individual protest. Also in Delhi, protesters offering roses to policemen guarding barricades. Protesters gave them roses instead in a true Gandhian spirit. And in Mumbai, the packed August Kranti Maidan there with thousands coming out. One of Mumbai's biggest protests, peaceful protests there against the Citizenship Act. India versus the lockdown, three defining moments of the day. Let's just look at tonight's top headlines. India unites versus the Citizenship Act. Major protests in Mumbai, Delhi, Bengaluru, Chennai and across India. One killed in Lucknow, vandalism in Sambhal in western UP. Police lathi charge protesters in Varanasi. There's also police firing in Mangaluru. Curfew now in parts of the city. Well, the Prime Minister today, meanwhile, was at a meeting on Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, as Gandhi historian Ram Guha pushed, shoved and detained by policemen in Bengaluru. Is the government softening its stand? No NRC for now, says the Junior Minister for Home. He also says that no Citizenship Act rules are actually ready. Meanwhile, a controversial statement by Mamata Banerjee, who says there should be a nationwide vote on NRC and CAA conducted by the UN. Mumbai stands out to be counted. Thousands and thousands of people at protests. From Bollywood to students, the crowds throng the Maidan. They spill over to neighbouring areas as well. But today, a nightmare for Delhi Gurugram commuters as the border is completely gridlocked, jams for hours. 18 metro stations also shut in Delhi today and mobile net cut in areas. Across India, students lead the way in Chennai. Also, protesters defy Section 144 in Bengaluru. Protests in Thiruvananthapuram as well. And guns with roses. These young students protesting in the Gandhian way. Well, joining me tonight will be reporters from across the country. Tonight, Sanket at Jantar Mantar. That's where protests shifted in Delhi after the police stopped people from gathering earlier at Red Fort. Also, Purva at one of the city's biggest protests in Mumbai ever. Thousands thronged at August Kranti Maidan. We'll have more on that, but let's just look at the day's top developments.
बिल का अभ्यास करिए आपके पास जो सूचना है वो ठीक नहीं है ये बिल किसी की
Let's go across now live to Jantar Mantar in Delhi and to August Kranti Maidan in Mumbai. Sanket, what's happening currently where you are?
Well, Sonia, the protest is now officially over. The last two batches of people who were refusing to leave have also been convinced by the police. The police deployment has left. So let's just say, and we can safely say that we are among the only few left here at Jantar Mantar. You can see that this protest for the moment is over. and I consciously use the words for the moment because most of the protesters who were gathered here were not just affiliated with student organizations, left-leaning organizations like ISA and SFI, but there were many college goers who were not politically inclined at all. Many of them very articulate and very informed had also gathered here. Some of them holding the poster of Mahatma Gandhi and using Gandhian ways to protest. I mean, as you spoke just a while ago, guns and roses. Throughout the day, throughout the afternoon, I saw protesters taking roses to the cops and telling them, you're not at fault. It's not your fault. You've been asked to come here, so we want to offer you a rose and we want a dialogue with the Delhi police. It's interesting that both the government, that is Prime Minister Modi, also invokes Mahatma Gandhi in all his speeches. In fact, in a commemoration session, he also invoked Mahatma Gandhi, spoke praises for him, talked about imbibing his philosophy in everyday life. But it was actually being implemented right here in this protest by the protesters who were gathered in the form of giving roses, in the form of being non-violent. This protest right here will perhaps be the first, to the credit of both the police as well as the protesters, of being largely non-violent. The same cannot be said about Lucknow, but certainly the one that took place in Delhi.
If you can just play both those shots that you just talked about, let's just look. There's the Prime Minister at that session, chaired by the President, also attended by the Portugal Prime Minister. There's the Prime Minister at that session commemorating 150 years of Gandhi. While at earlier this day today, we are seeing their protesters, as you pointed out, protesting in the Gandhian way, offering roses to policemen, peaceful protests. Yet also, and these are images that have gone across the world, Gandhi historian Ram Guha being pushed and shoved by policemen even as he's protesting individually in Bengaluru. There's Section 144 in Karnataka. He says, I didn't violate it. Let's just look at the contrast of those shots again there. The Prime Minister chairing a meeting on Mahatma Gandhi's 150th year on a day when we saw what's happening to Gandhi historian Ram Guha, who was pushed and shoved and taken away. So there's the irony of that, but let's just... There's the irony of that, but let's just go across also live to Purva. Now, Purva, Mumbai is often talked about as a city which just gets on with its business. It doesn't care about what's happening. It lives in its bubble. But today, Mumbai proved they were different. Tell us what happened. You're currently at that Maidan. Have you seen crowds like that before?
Well, Sonia, you were absolutely right when you said that Mumbai doesn't normally come out on road and all it cares about is its business. But this time around, it was quite unprecedented because for a political cause, Mumbaikars in thousands, in fact, came out on road. Most of them, even the office goers, they took half days and they joined this protest. Even the students, they bunked their classes, or some of them took half days and they attended the protest. And it was very peaceful because even the protest, which is now officially over here, it was very peaceful, and there were just people who gathered at August Kranti Maidan, which has the capacity of 8,000 to 10,000, but it was completely full, and we were told that there were protesters even on road. So we can easily expect that there were 12,000 to 15,000 Mumbaikars out on road. Let me just quickly go across to some of the students who have joined us here. आप briefly हमें बताएं कि आप यहाँ पे क्यों आए थे, क्या भावना थी? आप एक कॉलेज स्टूडेंट हैं, क्या भावना लेके आए थे?
ये यहाँ पर हम लोग जमा हुए थे जो कैब और एनआरसी का अगेंस्ट में प्रोटेस्ट करने के लिए। कैब ये जो कि अब CAA हो गया है, एक एक्ट बन चुका है। अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस परसिक्यूटेड माइनॉरिटीज फ्रॉम अफगानिस्तान।
आपको क्या लगता है लेकिन इसके अगेंस्ट, मतलब
ये सिर्फ आप CAA को अकेले ना देखिए, एनआरसी को साथ में लेकर देखिए, ये लीगल कॉम्बिनेशन है। जब अकॉर्डिंग टू एनआरसी, आसाम में जो एनआरसी हुआ है उसके तहत जो सिटीजन थे वहाँ के 25 मार्च 1971 के पहले का पेपर दिखाना था उनको।
यू थिंक इट इज अ लीथल कॉम्बिनेशन विद CAA एंड NRC? आप हमें बताएं, आप भी प्रोटेस्ट में शामिल हुए थे, आप आपका क्या भावना था इस पूरे प्रोटेस्ट को लेके? आप भी एक पोस्ट कार्ड भी लेके घूम रहे थे।
पहले तो बता दूं, मेरा नाम राज महाजन है और मैं एक राइटर हूँ। मैं ये जो CAA है, ये कोई 6 साल पुरानी कोई विचारधारा नहीं है। ये विचारधारा कम से कम 90 साल पुरानी है, जिसने भारत के 2 टुकड़े कराए थे, इसका बंटवारा कराया था। ये विचारधारा के जो अनुयायी हैं वो ये CAA को लेकर आए हैं और इनकी पॉलिसी सिर्फ मुस्लिम पे रुकने वाली नहीं है। अगर ये कामयाब होते हैं तो ये मुस्लिम्स के बाद दलित, सिख, ईसाई तक जाएंगे और इनकी जो रणनीति है ना हिंदू राष्ट्र बनाने की, ये उस पर
लगता है कि ये काफी डिवाइसिव है। आप भी हमें बताएं कि आप भी एक स्टूडेंट है, स्टूडेंट्स को लेके मन में क्या भावना है? क्योंकि यहाँ पे हमने देखा कि मुंबई में स्टूडेंट्स भी काफी ज्यादा मात्रा में बाहर आए हैं।
क्योंकि ज्यादा इफेक्ट हमारे फ्यूचर पे पड़ने वाला है। ये अभी कुछ हो जाएगा तो ज्यादा कुछ होने वाला नहीं इसमें, लेकिन ये इफेक्ट हमारे फ्यूचर पे, हमारे आने वाले जनरेशन में पड़ने वाला है। इसलिए ये ज्यादा हानिकारक है हमारे स्कैब और ये NRC दोनों चीजें। और जो अफेक्ट पड़ रहा है, जो अभी अफेक्ट पड़ रहा है, वो ज्यादा अफेक्ट पड़ने वाला नहीं, लेकिन जो
right, Purva, so we're seeing there student after student speaking out against the opposition. Let's just look at the story you sent on what happened at those protests where thousands of people have turned out. We'll come back to that story once we get audio, but across India, as I said, and that's the remarkable thing of Mumbai, that there was no violence in this protest. Thousands of people there, no Section 144, but no violence in Mumbai at all, and peaceful protests across so many cities. Let's go across to Sam, who sent us this report with students who are leading the protests in Chennai. So there, as we said, across cities in India where it was peaceful, but also the violence which is also broken out in parts of India. Now we saw violence coming mainly from Lucknow, also in Sambhal in western UP, and in Mangaluru, in Varanasi, the lathi charge, but again there's police firing in Mangaluru. Let's go across now to Alok, live on that. Alok, what exactly, you were there, caught in the middle of that situation in Lucknow. Can we go across to Alok? Alok, you were caught there in that situation in Uttar Pradesh. Our OB van was also damaged. Tell us what the current situation is. One person has died in firing.
Yes, Sonia, indeed, what a day we've had here. One person has died from an quote-unquote alleged firearm injury as per the doctors at the trauma center where he was being treated. A total of 4 people were admitted there since about 3 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. 3 of them, the doctors are saying, have alleged firearm injuries. The police is not confirming this to us. They have not said this on record. In fact, the OP Singh, the Director General, just told us that the police have not fired. So that's the situation there. But all through the day, there were many incidents of vandalism in 3 prominent locations, all of them towards older Lucknow. One was the Parivartan Chowk, which was the area of the designated protest that was called by a lot of NGOs and left parties. That's where a major violence took place and at least 3 to 4 OB vans of private channels were torched. Our OB van was damaged too, but thankfully, it managed to get out of that crowd. Many other vehicles were torched there. Then there are 2 areas in the older part of Lucknow. One of them is close to that iconic Rumi Darwaza that you would perhaps know about. A police chowki was torched there. Vehicles were set on fire. And there were pitched battles between the police and protesters or vandals, whatever you choose to call them, in another area called Khadra, where I even saw petrol bombs being hurled from that side, at least in one location.
Absolutely,
and the police also tear gassing and lathi charging
there. So in fact, Alok, let's just go across that report you sent us today from there. Let's just go across to that.
Quiet though. Protests in Lucknow against the new religion-based citizenship law began peacefully, with people from a wide spectrum attending.
These are non-violent protests. We'll be here. We'll be here every day till we this NRC and CA is scrapped.
However, soon, and it's not clear how exactly, but violence and vandalism broke out. In Parivartan Chowk in central Lucknow, where NGOs and left parties had given a protest call, despite the cops disallowing it, 3 media broadcast vans and other vehicles were burnt. In Khadra in Old Lucknow, a police post was vandalized and vehicles were burnt. And in Thakurganj, also in Old Lucknow, another police post was set on fire, as well as some vehicles. This is not something that you expect when there is a protest, even if the police are clamping down on it. This is something that is not right. But here, you can see that a mob here has attempted to burn this entire police chowki. Earlier, the government made sure that activist leaders who called for the protests did not step out. Magsaysay Award winner Sandeep Pandey was not allowed to leave his house.
एक निवेदन है मेरा कि जैसा कि हमें अवगत कराया गया है, आज आप अगर कोई बहुत आवश्यक कार्य ना हो, नहीं मैं नहीं जा रहा हूँ कहीं.
Many others were similarly detained. Uttar Pradesh's police chief issued this appeal last night, warning action against those whom he called children.
अतः मैं अपील करूंगा अपने सभी गार्जियंस, पेरेंट्स से कि वो अपने बच्चों को इस दिन कहीं पे भी जाने के लिए प्रेरित ना करें. There could be many ways to protest, and the constitution gives you the power to protest. You have the democratic means to protest. You can write, you can issue appeals, you can do anything.
While there were other peaceful protests across UP, at least 2 buses were torched in West UP's Sambhal. With Vineet Kumar, Subhash Rana and camera person Rajesh Gupta, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has spoken also to the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister from New York. Also, the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister said those responsible for violence have been identified and their assets will be sold to pay for that loss to public property. Meanwhile, what were India's politicians doing today in a day when Delhi was literally on a lockdown? Well, all was well. The Prime Minister met with the Portugal Prime Minister. Later, he attended a meeting on Mahatma Gandhi at 150 years. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, was in his residence. He is meant to be chairing a meeting also on the current situation, while the BJP President met with refugees from Afghanistan. However, the Junior Minister of State for Home, speaking to NDTV, seemed to indicate that the government didn't want to rush anything through just yet.
Protests across India. For government and leaders of the BJP, business as usual as far as public engagements went. Prime Minister Modi met his Portugal counterpart Antonio Costa in New Delhi. Home Minister Amit Shah attended an anniversary parade of the Sashastra Seema Bal in New Delhi. While there were closed-door meetings, the junior Home Minister appealed for calm, pointing out that the controversial citizenship rule and NRC were yet to be implemented.
नेशनवाइड आने वाला है ऐसा बताया, मगर कब आएंगे अभी उसका कोई ड्राफ्ट भी नहीं है बिल का. अभी वो कैबिनेट भी ना अप्रूवल में, लीगल डिपार्टमेंट भी नहीं किया, ड्राफ्ट भी तैयार नहीं किया है. इसीलिए हम बताना चाहते हैं लोगों को, अभी एनआरसी का अभी तुरंत अभी होने वाला नहीं है. इसलिए एडवर्टाइजमेंट में बता चुके हैं कुछ लोग एनआरसी के नाम पर, क्योंकि एनआरसी लाएंगे पूरे इधर के कुछ मुसलमान को लेकर वापस भिजा देंगे, ऐसा एक गलत प्रचार कर रहे हैं.
On the other hand, in Delhi, BJP working president JP Nadda said that CAA would be implemented. Mr. Nadda met refugees from Afghanistan who are potential beneficiaries of the CAA.
अपना सिटीजन अमेंडमेंट एक्ट भी लागू होगा और आगे चलकर एनआरसी भी लागू होगा, नेशनल रजिस्टर बनेगा ऑफ सिटीजन्स. इसको भी हम आपको बताना चाहते हैं.
NDTV ब्यूरो रिपोर्ट.
इस कानून से कुछ भी हासिल नहीं हो रहा. मेरी हाथ जोड़ के अपील है सभी केंद्र सरकार से कि इस कानून को इस टाइम लाने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है.
I sincerely urge and appeal all the political parties, leaders and people in general to maintain calm on the issue. Citizenship Amendment Act (CAA) is a national act. CAA is a constitutional provision. There is no question of states rejecting it.
The mood that is there and the spirit with which this younger generation is fighting is something very, very welcome sign, a very, very pleasant sign. This government doesn't want any dissenting voice to be heard. And this is a very, very major authoritarian attack.
What's interesting, and if you look at this map, is where Section 144, that is prohibitory orders, which means that crowds of more than 3 or 4 people can't gather, was actually imposed. BJP-led states all use Section 144. So Delhi, where law and order comes under the centre, had Section 144 in parts. There were also mobile net cuts. Many said that this means that now what's happening in Kashmir has come to Delhi. Opposition states, most notably Maharashtra, didn't impose Section 144, and we saw thousands in Mumbai protesting peacefully. But in Madhya Pradesh, there was tension, and Section 144 was used in some areas to the Congress-led government. Let's just take a look around India. Let's start with Delhi, where the major impact was felt with people being detained, mobile net being cut in many areas, 18 metro stations shut down. Also, the border areas, Delhi-Gurugram, was completely jammed because of barricades.
Delhi saw large-scale disruptions as the police chose to clamp down on protests against the controversial Citizenship Amendment Act. The border with Gurugram had thousands of cars stuck on their way to Delhi because the police barricaded the entire road except one lane. Not only did it hold up these cars, but worried parents in schools as who had to cross the border.
दिल्ली में तमाम जगह पे जहाँ भी इन्होंने असेंबल करने की कोशिश की है इन वायलेशन ऑफ रूल्स, तो वहाँ से इनको हटाया गया है और पीसफुली हटाया गया है. कुछ स्पेसिफिक जगह पे बहुत थोड़े से समय के लिए हमने इंटरनेट बंद करवाए थे. इसका एक रीज़न था कि जो जामिया में हमने देखा था कि र्यूमर बहुत ज़्यादा फैले थे.
Ironically, the traffic jams led to over a dozen flight cancellations and over 20 delays, because not only passengers but flight crews were stuck for hours. And if anyone thought of catching a metro, they had to think twice. About 20 metro stations in the heart of India's capital and around the south in Jamia area and Munirka. There was another unpleasant surprise for many. All telecom networks were ordered shut in a few areas, from 9 a.m. to around 1 p.m. This included for the first time all services, not just data and SMS, but also voice. The Delhi police, which reports to the centre, not the Delhi government, had already imposed prohibitory orders under Section 144 that bar more than 4 people in several areas, including Red Fort, the venue of the protest, where Yogendra Yadav was detained. NDTV Bureau Report.
Section 144 also in Bengaluru, not just for today but for 3 days. But the most shocking visuals that came out of the city were these. Ram Guha, well-known historian, a Gandhi historian, standing alone but yet being pushed and shoved by policemen as they took him away to be detained.
The protest began in Bengaluru in a dramatic fashion, with historian Ram Guha being dragged away by the police at the town hall. Guha, like many others, had come to oppose the Citizenship Amendment Act despite prohibitory orders being placed in the city. He was not the only one dragged away.
There's no question of them saying no protest. We have a right to protest.
As protesters are being moved away and being taken into the bus, police in riot gear.
But there was a softening of the police stance by the afternoon, with these protesters allowed to shout slogans, wave flags and carry banners despite the 3-day ban on protests.
The message I'd like to send is, we know what's going on in the country, okay, and we are showing our interest that we don't like the rules which have come, okay. Meanwhile, we don't forget our rights and duties which we have morally we are supposed to follow.
I don't have the documents of my father's birth certificate. How can I show the documents of my grandfather? He is no more. My father is no more. How can I collect the documents?
All those detained were released later in the day. Mangaluru in Dakshin Kannada district, however, saw violence, with the police cracking down on those who came out to protest in violation of the prohibitory orders there. With Nehal Kidwai and Maya Sharma in Bengaluru, Gargi Rawat for NDTV.
Well, from Section 144 to West Bengal, where Mamata Banerjee led her 4th rally in as many as 4 days against NRC and the Citizenship Act. There was also a citizenship march. But today, Mamata Banerjee controversially suggested that there should be a national vote on NRC and CAA, and she said this should be conducted by an independent international agency like the UN. The governor of West Bengal has said that he wants her to retract the statement.
বুকের যদি পাটা থাকে চলে আসুন, ভোটে চলে আসুন, একটা ভোট, গণভোট। এই সিএ ইস্যুর উপর, সিএবি এবং এনআরসি ইস্যুর উপর সারা ভারতবর্ষে একটা গণভোট হয়ে যাক। আপনি করবেন না, ইউনাইটেড নেশনস করবে। একটা ইম্পার্শিয়াল অর্গানাইজেশন, let them play a very important role. United Nations, Human Rights Commission, ইম্পর্টেন্ট যারা এক্সপার্টস, তাদের নিয়ে একটা কমিটি হোক। তৃণমূলেরও থাকার দরকার নেই, বিজেপিরও থাকার দরকার নেই, অন্য পার্টিরও থাকার দরকার নেই, হিন্দু মুসলমান শিখ খ্রিস্টান কোনো কমিউনিটি থাকার দরকার নেই। আমরা চাই তারা একটা গণভোট সংগঠিত করে ভারতবর্ষে। আমরা দেখতে চাই কটা লোক মানছে আর কটা লোক মানছে না। যদি না মানে বলুন রেজিগনেশন করতে বাধ্য হবেন, বলুন রেজিগনেশন করতে বাধ্য হবেন গণভোট হলে।
Also, the story we were reporting on Mumbai, when one of the biggest protests ever seen in the city, thousands have come out from Bollywood stars to students in Mumbai's Agast Kranti Maidan.
A vast number of Mumbaikars turned out. From afternoon onwards, they just kept pouring into the historic Agast Kranti Maidan, named after the Quit India movement.
I'm here because I oppose NRC and CA. That's why I'm here. I believe it goes against the constitution. It's not secular. That's why I'm here to oppose it.
मतलब एक डरी हुई सरकार है जिसका होल सोल एजेंडा जो है इलेक्शन जीतना है, और ये हमेशा इलेक्शन के पहले होता है। ऑलरेडी चारों तरफ से चालू हो गया कि बॉर्डर के ऊपर थ्रेट्स आने लग गए। ये सारी चीज़ें जो हैं हवा में छोड़ी जा रही हैं, और ये जो पूरा माहौल बनता जा रहा है, जिस तरह से लोगों को उठा रहे हैं, प्रोटेस्ट नहीं करने दे रहे हैं, ये लिटरली क्या फ़र्क है इसमें और इमरजेंसी में?
आई थिंक ये सब जो हजारों लोग यहाँ शामिल हैं उनकी एक ही वजह है, वी लव आवर कंट्री। हमें अपने मुल्क से प्यार है, और इस मुल्क का एक बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग पिलर है सेक्युलरिज्म, और उसको प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए हम आए हैं। आई थिंक ये जो एक्ट है ये इनहेरेंटली इन नेचर कम्युनल है।
40 किलोमीटर दूर से पैदल चल के आए इस देश के लिए। देश को बांटने वाला कानून है ये, मुसलमान हिंदू और सिखों को बांटने वाला कानून है, हम मुसलमान भाइयों को बांटने वाला कानून है।
Some Bollywood personalities also joined in.
Opposition is to raise your voice against something is absolute democratic right. Where people are raising their voices, and I subscribe to the view that there seems to be a certain amount of discrimination in what has been planned and what is happening. And as a citizen of this country, and as somebody who has been born and is grown up with a certain idea of what India is, it is important for me to raise my voice.
In a sharp contrast to Delhi, Mumbai police, now under the Shiv Sena-led government, has allowed these large protests while imposing Section 144 in other parts of India's financial capital. With Purva Chitnis and Rohit Khilnani in Mumbai, Anusya Mathur for NDTV.
That's it on the news, but lots more coming up as we stay on India United versus the Citizenship Act.